Welcome to another episode of RadioActive Recovery, where we drop the bomb on recovery and hope you catch the fallout. Today, we have Malika P back in the studio. All right, we're doing this again. Sorry about the last time, but she was going to vacation. How was Jamaica?
Oh, it was nice. It was nice. That Jamaica was one of the places I went to.
Oh, yeah, just one of them, but these are the joys of recovery, yes, right? Absolutely. So, without further ado, I'll go ahead and let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
My name's Malika P. I'm originally from Boston, but reside in Worcester, Massachusetts at this time. I've been in recovery for almost 16 years, coming up on 16 years. And I'm also a survivor of sex trafficking and sex exploitation, as well as a mentor and advocate, as well as a case manager for Umass Chan Substance Abuse and Mental Health Department.
Okay, so she wears many hats in the community, which is good. Most of them dealing with, at-risk women, correct?
Yes, very much. Trauma, substance abuse, mental health, sex exploitation.
Right. All right, cool. So, again, I've been in and out of working recovery for a decent amount of time, but Malika was one of those women that when I first, before I say that, would you like to tell people what path to recovery you travel?
Well, yeah, definitely the path that I've traveled and always has is Narcotics Anonymous. That is what I do. I believe in abstinence. However, I do respect other pathways. And as far as my work is concerned, I work with people that have a lot of different pathways of recovery.
Right. Cool. So yes, so many years ago, I was what they called the baby. I was like 18 and 19. And, Malika had always had this big spirit about her, this big energy, right? Like when she walked in the room, she lit the room up. And, one of the very, very first times that like, I was like mesmerized by her was, my uncle Tony, God rest his soul. Mm-hmm. He bought me to it was a fashion show for Valentine's Day or something like that. I believe it was a Valentine's Day fashion show, or it could have been a little bit before Valentine's Day or after. But all I know is that it was a fashion show across from, I think, the old Vogue. Right there.
Oh, yeah. Institute Road.
Yes. So, and she came out in the whole place erupted. What? And I said, what? Is she famous, Uncle Tony? He's like, that's Malika P. If you don't know, you better go ask somebody. He was like, all right, cool. So, when I came in this time around, she was most definitely somebody I needed to have and wanted to have in my corner, because, you come with the message, right? Mm-hmm. On how to get this, long-term recovery is attainable, right? Mm-hmm. So, you're one of those people that I watch. And there's a couple other of your very good friends that I watch as well when it comes to how I want to model myself in recovery. So what brought you to recovery? So how was life? Like, give me an introduction on who Malika P is.
Well, many years ago, I got caught up into the drug addiction, trying to fit in somewhere, trying to avoid life, what was going on in my life, trying to find myself. And basically, I always wanted to be a part of something. And so I did what the crowd did. And that leads from one thing to the other. The bottom line is I realize now that I have a compulsive and obsessive, personality.
Yeah.
And so like anything could be too much of something for me. But at the time it was drug addiction. And so, I got caught up into that. And there's been times when I found, Narcotics Anonymous or meetings and I got clean. But there was just really a fine line with, am I willing to do everything that they say I should do in order to stay clean, or can I still do this and then do that,
Right.
or
Right.
God, you can help me with this, but I got that,
Right.
type of thing. And so when I met you, actually, because I had to get out of Boston, I came out here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came out here, I met you, and I had some years in the program.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
However, because I wasn't willing to continue to do certain things, or I thought that I was okay at the time to be able to use, I ended up relapse, and I went back out and I started drinking, and of course it led from one thing to the other. So I came back sometime later, and I have been on this path ever since. And that's how I ended up in this situation, of being clean for 15 years rather than 23.
Okay. Okay. And 15 is still some major time. So
Yes.
kudos to you for
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, as far as your recovery goes, did you immediately start working the steps, the 12-step program? Or how was that to you? Like, did you get a sponsor first and then start working them? Or because I've heard some wild stuff in recovery. Like, oh, you can go do steps and you don't need to have a sponsor for this, or you got to have a,
Well, now that they got these different pathways, a whole bunch of stuff is being said, but it's only one way, one direction, one guidance, one sponsor, one
Right.
program. That's how I do it.
Mhm.
But I got into the program. Of course, I immediately got a sponsor this time around, and I think the last time around too. But this time, I continue to stay connected with my sponsor very, very closely all these years.
Right.
I had the same sponsor. But previously I had like pushed away from all the stuff that kept me here. I stopped doing basically.
Ooh,
I
okay.
worked in treatment, and that's one of the biggest things that I have with other women who get clean, and then they got like 6 months, they want to work in treatment. And I'm like, that's a very fine line, because we can get into working in treatment, we're doing wonderful, and then all the treatment is the other people's treatment is more important, or work is more important. Let me put it like that: work is more important than anything else. And every time you turn around, it's like, I gotta work. But what about you?
Right.
And so because that happened to me working in treatment and stopped doing all the stuff I was doing, I go to their meetings. No, that's not my meeting. That's their meeting, right?
Right.
And so I the way that I looked at everything was just a really bad perspective of like what I was doing, and what I stopped doing was doing the same things that I did when I first got here. So I even still to this day do the same things that I did when I first got here. I don't never want to forget the desperation and how difficult it was for me. But most importantly is I have to be there, doing the same things that I've been doing, because I have to give it back, and I have to be able to bring other people in and show people the way.
Nice. Yeah. And I would agree. Yeah. Especially when you're bringing new people in or showing someone the way, you want to give them something like a model that they can actually look at and say, yeah, you know what? That's cool. I can dig with that. Right. Like that's something that I can do. And it's true. Like I see you, so Malika P has a large group of women under her. I would like to call them a village, right? and they don't just take care of themselves, but they also take care of some men out here in the recovery scene as well. So kudos for that. Now, this is a program because I too work a program of abstinence, Narcotics Anonymous. But with this being said that it's a program of men and women, what are your views on the newcomer and being around men, or the newcomer and being around women?
Do I have an opinion about that? We all have those. But let me just say, even really to kind of go back into what you was saying about the step work really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a hard time with the step work at first because when I came in, I really struggled with identifying a lot because I ain't think none of that wasn't wrong with me.
Right.
I don't know about nobody else. And I just felt that pushing past all the trauma and all the stuff that I went through in my life, I pushed through it and I'm fine. But I learned that was definitely not the fact once I did start doing the step work. And it didn't take me overnight to do it. It took me a long time to even get through step one because that's a very long step.
Yes.
But yeah, that was where my peace and surrender came in. And that's where I understood that there was a lot wrong with me when I started doing the work.
Right.
I believe in that wholeheartedly. But as far as the program of men and women.
Yeah. So I've heard you share. Can we explain to the viewers the coffee pot shuffle?
Oh, me. So the thing, so that's a good thing to talk about because let me just say when I came around and I used to do that. The coffee pot shuffle is when you always got to get up out your seat to go get a cup of coffee because you want people to see you strut across the room. And sometimes you don't even know you're doing it because that's just what you've been doing, and I didn't understand that. Everybody would say that coffee pot shuffle, and I'd be like, I don't know what they're talking about. But it all stemmed from that inner thing, that something that we call it, that craving for attention, craving for validation.
Yes.
And we find ourselves just being in our comfort zone and doing what we do. So I would get up and I would go to the coffee pot, and I know I have this strut, like I model and everything. I do runway modeling, for the program and stuff. But I just had that, that
extra something on it, right? You had to put that extra.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize what I was doing. I didn't know, but see, it was up to other women to help me identify that stuff and understand where it was coming from. When women have these things with the men, this is a program of men and women.
Correct.
Right? However, the first thing that get better when we get clean is below the belt. Right?
Absolutely.
So everything start looking good.
Listen, you can't touch. Yeah, you can't touch each other with
Yeah. But it's like I learned that we have to understand what our ulterior motives are, right? Like if I get to know you and like I meet you in this process, right? Like what am I really doing? Am I really trying to have a genuine friend, or is there some type of attraction there? Or even if it's not one there, is it me doing my little thing like the coffee pot shuffle, but not doing the coffee pot shuffle, but just my behavior or flirtatious nature,
just
trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So it's difficult to really when the below the belt gets better to kind of vibe with men on a professional or
like a platonic
level. Yeah. And so it's really a painful area. They say don't get in a relationship for a year, but they don't say that that's mandatory. What it says is that could be a painful area. So if you need to go ahead and do that, right? But it takes away a lot from you getting better because you're focused on someone else or something else rather than focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
So but I do have a lot of relationships with a lot of men, platonic, because I have gotten to a place where I understand my characteristics and I understand that like I'm a woman of self-respect, dignity, integrity.
That's right.
And I don't have to have a relationship with a man like that. And if
a
man come for me like that, I know how to shut it down.
Yes. So, so for me, when I first, got clean again, and again, everyone out there, Malika P was a very vital part of me getting clean again. Like I remember calling her and she's like, yo, you were supposed to be going today. And I said, no, wait, I promise you next week I'm going. And, she never once made me feel like she didn't believe in me. She never once made me feel like I couldn't do it, but she did meet me where I was. And she taught me something without, I don't think you taught me this, but you taught me that I can never try to save someone at the detriment of myself. Right? So if a person that I love is an active addiction, outside of a phone call, like I can't be chasing them around town, right?
Yeah.
Because we have nothing going on in common right now, right?
Right.
And you'll probably get me to use faster than I can get you to treatment.
Yes.
Right? So I want to thank you for that. But what do you think directly out of treatment? What would you say the top 2 things to do directly coming home from treatment would be?
Oh man, so I got tons of them, but I'll pick 2. I think the first thing that a person should do is definitely get connected with people in recovery, like go to a meeting and just like let people know that you're there, you're scared, or whatever the case may be, you really need help, you need some people, because we talk ourselves into a lot of things, or we convince ourselves a lot of things that aren't really happening, but in your mind they are. Like, you know what, I don't, I could just go use and nobody's gonna know.
Absolutely.
Or, I just there's nobody here for me, so I'm just gonna, I can't take this or do this on my own, so I'm just gonna go use. But if you have people, and you have people who understand what's happening, there's no way around that if you use the source, right? You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna go use and nobody will know, because somebody will know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now that you so that you speak on somebody will know. I remember when in that October when I first came back, but then I went back out. I had been going to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting on not Green Street, Journey Church. They have a Friday night meeting or something like that.
Oh, over there. Yeah, yeah.
And I had been going for a long time, and one of these guys, I would never talk though. And one of these guys said, "Hey, Alan." And I said, "What's going on?" He said, you should probably raise your hand." And I said, "Yeah, but I like to get the message." He said, "No, it's not because, of that, oh, put the cotton in your mouth and take it out of your ears thing. It's because you can't see the back of your head, right? Like the stuff you told me. You can't see the back of your head. So how are we supposed to know when you're in the danger zone if we don't know what to look for, right? We don't know who you are, right? So do you encourage the newcomer to get in and make sure that people know who they are through sharing, through hey, hi, how are you doing, or the small talk, the conversation? Like, how do you think that a newcomer should approach the situation? Because I know sometimes, with me being a newcomer myself, I can feel like, damn, I want to share, but I don't want people to be like, oh, look at the newcomer, shut up. You need to listen. You know everything about getting high. You don't know nothing about staying clean, right? How would you advise a newcomer on making sure that they get known without feeling like they're being targeted?
Yeah. So many years ago, not many, but a while ago, that was the way we did things. Put the cotton in your mouth and put in,
right.
all that stuff, and so that's a way that was real appropriate at that time, because we needed to get the information, right?
Yes.
In order for us to live it or put it into fruition.
Right.
Now what it is the way that I see it is, I think a newcomer needs to jump right in. I'm talking about service work. I'm talking about like getting active, right? So they can start being known and being seen as being a newcomer that's trying to get this thing the way the other people are getting. Because I believe in, like, when we first come around, like if we come around and we make a goal to get that 30-day key tag, right? That's 30 days clean. Then you make a goal to get that 60-day key tag. You get it, that's 60 days clean. You go and be the coffee pot person and try to get that 90 days. You commit yourself to that, to doing the coffee pot or every week or every day, whatever the meeting is, and you get the 90-day. And then once you get the 90-day, you start being able to chair a meeting and stuff like that. So I believe in like jumping in and getting active, get on a committee, like an activities committee.
Yep.
Or something like that. Chair the meeting, like how you started out, you got jumped in and was like, wow, you just went full
Thank
speed
you.
ahead. And so like everybody was like, oh, Alan, because we
Mhm.
seen you wanting this thing. And so then that gravitates you to a lot of people that can help you and people that can help you to gravitate towards you, and then you begin to build relationships with people. And
Absolutely.
then next thing you know, you got a year.
Right.
You're celebrating, right?
Right.
And then you're like, I got to get the next year, or the
black
18 months, the multiple years, and so that's how it is. But if you are not putting in the work, like going to meetings and getting knowledgeable and talking about how you're feeling and letting people know where you're at, and you just fall off the face of the earth and nobody sees you, what do you think is gonna happen?
Right.
Because you in there by your own your mind by yourself.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's where the thing is the disease affects us between our ears.
Absolutely.
Telling us things that we believe.
Right. Absolutely. So thank you for that. Because I definitely believe that. And yes, thank you for seeing, what I did this time around. Because, and these are those things, right? Those thought distortions. Because, when I would see people staring at me or people looking like this, right? I'm like, oh shit, they talking about me. They're like, look at the dressed up trash can or this one or this nigga, he share like Shakespeare. But I'm waiting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then
I do.
But when you guys gave me that little nod the other night at the meeting, that was powerful. Like it took everything in me not to cry, right? Because I didn't do this time around for the looks, right? Because that was always my downfall. Was I had to go and get fly immediately, and
that
I had
was your
to be
coffee pot shuffle.
Yes, right. That was my coffee pot shuffle, right? It was like, hey guys, I'm here, and hearing me out, right? So I was conflicted when he told me, hey, listen, man, you got to share because people need to know who you are, right? Because sharing has always been a double-edged sword for me, right? Like I could share my ass straight back into the dope house, as they would say, right?
Yeah.
And it had always been that way, except this time I listened to you. I listened to your sponsor, your sisters, your sponsor, and I got connected, right? So like, and God, let me tell you about this, right? So God he keeps doing things for me in my recovery to show me that like when I start to maybe say, oh no, you know what? God's cultivating this, but let me put a couple holes in the sculpture myself, right? God's like, nah, back up, right? Because like he's been consistently showing me that as long as I don't pick up a drink or a drug, life is going to be great.
Yes,
it is going to be great. So, with that being said, can we talk about self-will?
Yeah. So, I believe that the first 3 steps, right, is honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. Acknowledging and accepting, admitting, or whatever you want to call it, that we are who we are, right? Absolutely. That there's a problem, and that if we don't fix the problem, we're going to continue to feel that unmanageability. We're not going to be okay. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, we learned that we have to, stop doing the same insanity. We have to, come to a place after we admit that we have a problem. We come to a point where we're like, open to hear or to get the information to try to get better. And then when the third willingness is when, stuff is happening in our lives and we're displaying all these things that are coming into play, that we're giving the stuff that we don't need or don't belong, we need to give it to God without taking it back. Right. And so we learn how to do these things 1, 2 through 3. And there's so much more to them too, but basically, and then from the 4th step on, we are on a whole nother level. We're working on learning about who we are, how we became who we are, and all that stuff. Right. And like just putting everything into fruition. Yes. Right. Bringing in to who we are going to become. Right. And when we do that part and do that work, we begin to get better, and we begin to put ourselves in position to be able to give it back. Yeah. Yep. And that is one of the most important things that we can do, is to change who we used to be and realize who we are supposed to be. Right. And allowing God to come into play understand that you have to align your will with his, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so that thing that you talked about self-will, that is a big thing, because sometimes we get our self-will and God's will conflicted.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And sometimes
Guilty.
we're like, this is what I want to do. Is it God telling me that I should do it, or my
Right.
disease telling me? And we go all the time with what's the best. Like,
Yes,
okay,
the best
I think
option
I should
I've
do
been
it.
to.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I should do it. I should do it. Only to find ourselves in pain again, right? But that's why we need to connect with other people.
Correct.
So other people can give us a different perspective, because they say that our higher power works through people, places, things, and situations.
Yes.
Right.
I
So
believe
we
that.
always have to keep our eyes open, our ears open, and pay attention to our gut.
Yes.
And know what I want to do. Is that really the right thing to do? Because you don't want to grab somebody new in recovery. You got this great looking girl and she's a 10, and then 2 years later she don't cook, clean, do nothing, right? But she just look good. She's a dime piece, she's a trophy, she's just like, that's my woman, all that. Then like 2 years later you be like, take her ass back.
Right.
She don't do nothing. I'm doing this, she's doing that, and it's not working.
Right.
And so you be like, God, was this your plan? No, it was your plan.
Your plan. Right. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So even getting into that piece too, I always say to people, and this is like it, this is a thing I watch all the time. And like when people come into recovery and they get together or whatever, they tend to, think that their program is the other person's program. They want to go to the same meetings. They want to,
sit right next to each other.
She do that, or they watching every movie each other, and that's why I always say that each one of you have to have your own recovery. And so like you do you and you do you. Right. Okay. And then y'all come together at the end of the night, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's really important when we are new in here and we come in here and get in relationships. That right there is one of the biggest things that take people out.
Right. Yeah. So, my sponsor actually put it into perspective. I have never been one to, because sometimes we'll get into detox, CSS, TSS, and just because someone smiles at us, right? We're like, yo, they're the ones who are writing home. Oh, they're the ones. We're going to get married and we're going to take over the world together. Mm-hmm. And I used to think like, well, even though I have never been in a detox relationship or something like that, I always was like, but what's the big, like, why do people care about what other people are doing in detox and who they're getting with the halfway houses? 2 halfway houses don't make a home, right? But that was me without the open-mindedness, right? Mm-hmm. And then this time around, he says to me, listen, when we first get clean, like you said, right, the first thing we start feeling is them feelings under the belt, right? So then we come together as man and woman. We come together as one, right? And now everything comes together as one. There's no more individuality. So that way, right, when that person says, oh, fuck this, I'm leaving my halfway house, right? Now I'm going to feel obligated to say, well, fuck it, I'm leaving too, right? And I may have intentions on really not getting high. But you know what they say, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I definitely now am a firm believer in the fact that, like, unless you're coming in a relationship, and even that, speaking from experience, is even tricky to maneuver, right? Because you get your identities are still mixed up in one another to some degree, right? And what I'm saying, how it aligns with self-will, right, is like, so me, I've been praying a lot, right, about what I need to be doing in my situation, and God has been giving me clear, divine answers, right? But I'll put the dice back in the bottle and shake them back up.
Let me try again. Yeah.
And I guess that's me taking my will back. But at this point, if a person is in a halfway house and dating, say a woman's in a halfway house, she's dating a man, right? But she hears this and she goes, you know what, Malika P said it's not really a good idea. So maybe it's not. How does she go, or he go, about getting himself out of that newcomer situation?
Get out of it. Like, I don't think so. but let me even take a step back, because this is what it really is, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about you are in detox with this person, and you all are just coming from some serious trauma, PTSD,
Right.
childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You all are both broken. You both are damaged in a lot of different ways. You both don't understand love, or how to be loved. You both are angry because men have treated the woman like shit and did all kind of stuff to her. She might have been exploited. She might have been trafficked. She might have been coerced. She might have been molested. You might be been abusive, or had people been abused as a child. All these things you all are coming with, and like we use not to identify with that stuff, and to cover a lot of that stuff up. And so all that damage and brokenness that has happened to you is what has made you to the person that you are, right? And so you both come into detox all crazy, messed up, effed up, and everything else, right? And like, how do you really believe that you two are going to get together and everything's going to be
right,
beautiful?
Very
And that's
true.
why it's very important that we do that step work, because if you already together and you're in this process, it's important that you have your program, she has hers, but most importantly, that you both are doing the work on yourself.
Right.
In order for you to make something last, right, and to have some happiness with it, you all have to learn how to do that with each other, and you have to start with self first.
Right.
Yeah, because that'd be crazy when two people come in, the girl's all crazy, he's all crazy, and y'all like, let's get together. And all you all was thinking about at first was below the belt.
Right. Absolutely.
And then if you're the sex and all that is okay, whatever, good, whatever, now you my man, and I'm you my woman, and then it's crazy.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Right. Yeah. So yes, we're anything we speak about, either we've been through it or have direct experience with dealing with the situation. It is. So I'll ask from a woman's standpoint. Because I'm a guy, so I obviously I wouldn't know how to answer this or give any feedback about this. But how important is it when the newcomer comes in, and I'm talking about the woman, right? When she comes in, she gets her sponsor. How vital is it that she actually, because when we first come into recovery, we actually, we're ashamed of the person we are, right? So sometimes we put up a facade in front of people because we don't want people to see the real us, right? How vital is it for that facade to be put down, at least with your sponsor, so that way the work can actually be of some importance, right? Like it can manifest, or what's the word you use, fruition, right? That future you, right? The respectable,
the realization of who that you, all of it is supposed to be. What is it that we're supposed to be? What is it we're supposed to do?
Right.
Bringing everything into realization.
Right. And how important is it that you put the real you on display for your sponsor, so that the real help can happen?
Yeah, well, that's the reason why when we have a sponsor, it's important to develop a relationship with the sponsor. And I always tell people when they ask me to sponsor them, I'm like, listen, we boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay. We talking all the time. We getting to know each other. We are like committed to each other. We're connected. I'm going to get to know you. You're going to get to know me. Right. And so when you develop a relationship with somebody like that, the person that has the experience could spot it. Right. You be thinking you got the facade going and you getting over on everybody, and we looking at you like, yeah, okay. All right. And we'll say something to you about it. Now it's up to that person to be able to be open to what the person is saying, and like put in the work to change it. Because there's a saying that we have is, once you know something, you can't go back to not knowing.
Very true.
So if you cannot go back to not knowing, what the hell are you going to do about it?
Right.
Are you comfortable in your own skin with that part of you that's not even real, or that part of you that you made up to protect you, or to, manipulate or whatever that thing is that you're doing? That's something, sponsorship, if the person knows you, the sponsor, she will tell yourself, and she'll tell you about yourself, and we will save your ass before we save your face. How about that?
Nice. I like that saying. All right. You guys heard it. Save your ass before you save your face. Well, me personally, I felt like that was vital, right? This time around to address all of, well, not all of them, because there's still some flaws of mine that I haven't addressed openly, right? Because there's just some stuff that you just want to speak with your sponsor about, correct?
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. So, when I came in, and again, thank God for people like Malika P, and even when she's not on the show, you will hear me reference her name. Okay. I started to realize that a lot of the things that I did, or a lot of the actions or behaviors that I had, were directly, and it wasn't because of someone else. And I used to always say, well, what she did was that, but wait. So did it? All right. So I started to realize that, like, listen, either I'm really just a shit bag of a guy, or I have to start getting to the root of why I act the way I do.
Yeah.
Right. And as I did, right, because I know me personally, like, unless when you're hurt whether or not you're a shitbag or not, right? Like, if you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, bro, you're a shitbag, then odds are you are, right? But most of us can look in the mirror when we finally get enough courage to look in the mirror at what we're seeing. We can at least say, but you're not a shitbag though. You're like that caring guy. I know who you are, right? So it was important, as you said, right, for me to start to understand why I was abusive in relationships, why my mouth was crazy, right? I had to understand. And then as I started to do a little bit of work, because I haven't done much, but I've done enough, to say that there's some noticeable change here. But it all stemmed from my mom. I had mommy issues, really serious fucking mommy issues, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was a kid who, like, I got jealous seeing other people with their biological moms, right? I wanted to beat my real mom up because I felt like you were weak. You were this, you were that. I cursed at so many different levels. And then I stopped having respect for women when I found out that she had died behind heroin, and I was addicted to it. I was born addicted to it. So I used to like to believe that the shit that happened to me in my past had nothing to do with who I am today. Mm-hmm. Right. But you showed me, oh, hell, nigga, listen, mm-hmm. You couldn't be more wrong. Yeah. Right. So what, the person that you are today, how did your past influence that?
Well, I love what you had to say about that, because it's true. But something, all of us comes in here with a facade. And something, to keep it 100 with you, most of us are walking around still with facades, right? We don't know who we are because we haven't really identified why we are the way we are a lot of times.
That right? Part.
So when you go back into your past about your mother and everything, you begin to start to see the pattern of your behavior today. Right. And then you start to see that, okay, well, maybe this is why I do this and this is why I do that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we react or respond the way that we do based out of triggers, based out of trauma, and based out of, experiences that we had in our past or our childhood or whatever. So we react because we are protecting ourselves in some way, shape, form, or another, right? That little person inside of us is in protection mode now. And like, we gonna protect Alan, or we're gonna protect Malika, and this is what we're gonna do to protect them, even if it's getting out of something, right. Like manipulating, conning to try to see our way out of something. Like, we get caught cheating, we're like, oh well,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, like, one of the things is that we are, like you talked about, blaming other people and everything. We play the blame game a lot because we don't want to take accountability of the shit that we get. Like when that little person is in protection mode and they get busted lying or some shit, or trying to maneuver, or even get exposed with what they're doing at the moment, that con or that manipulation tactic. Right. We go into the protection piece, and we get afraid, and so it never ends up being the way that we would like it to be, because we're not taking responsibility or accountability for what we're doing and the part we're playing in it. You know what I'm saying? We don't never want to, because like I said, I came in here like nothing was wrong with me. right? So if I'm a shitbag, how would I know I'm a shitbag? Because ain't nothing wrong with me, right?
True.
I'm just doing what I do.
Right.
You know, and I don't see it being a problem. So why would I think I'm a shitbag? Right. There ain't nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely.
So when we do identify that I'm a shitbag, then I have to take accountability when I act out on trauma or triggers, you know, of being a shitbag. I got to be like, okay, you know what?
Let's see where this came from.
Right, I did it. I'm sorry about that. That's on me. I did it. Ain't no, but you and all. No, it's okay. This is what I did. Now it's on you to take your accountability of your part that you played in. My sponsor was big on that. She is big on that. What part did you play in that? If it ain't spiritual, it ain't right. And I'd be like, oh damn, yeah, that wasn't right. You know, because we walk around like dressed up trash cans. We look good on the outside, but on the inside, we like trash.
No, yeah. It's a battlefield in there. It's a battlefield in there.
Like the sprinkle of jewels on top.
Yeah. Just like throw some diamonds on a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Here, take that.
A sprinkle.
A sprinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I felt that it was vital, right? To get you on the show to talk about these things, because like who better, right, than someone who has actually lived it, and we can all identify with a story like yours, right? Because like I feel like so at least in my experience, most recovering addicts, right, they've always just wanted to feel a part of at some point in life, right? And that gets us in some big ass trouble, right? Just wanting to feel a part of. Like, you know, so I look back on how I ran the streets, and I used to always call other people narcissists, right? That was my thing. Oh, you fucking narcissist, right? But, you know, today, I feel like I can kind of pick out a narcissist. But when I was in active addiction, oh, I swore, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. But are you not? I don't know. How the fuck could I be a narcissist? I'm not a narcissist. But I would separate myself away from people who would call me on my shit, right? Like, oh, I got drugs. I'm going to chill with my friends, right? This is what it was. This is my friends, right? But now that I look back on it, that was narcissistic behavior, because like I would never be around anyone who would make me take a look at my bullshit. Of course. You feel me?
Yes.
So, you know, now what is it? After detox,
treatment.
Yes.
Holding facilities. Halfway houses.
But they call it the aftercare, or not aftercare, when you're in treatment, and they're like, are you going on to further treatment? How important is further treatment when you in the newcomer stage?
Let me just say that, like, this is another thing that a lot of us don't understand, right? Like, we suffer from mental health, you know. So let me just say that, because a lot of us we use to cover that up. It was like a vicious cycle, you know. You use substances to cover up the mental health, and then you got the mental health, so you're gonna go use the drugs. So it's like just a cycle. And so we come around here, and a lot of that stuff that we do, the trauma and the triggers, all of that stuff is part of the mental health thing. But all of that, like, you know, like you talked about, and I always talked about it, like we have so much self-centered fear, right? Like when you walk in the room and everybody start talking, you're like, yo, they talking about me, right?
Yep.
And then only to find out that, check this out, you ain't that important.
That's it.
We was talking about so-and-so's granddaughter, and you just happened to come in when we finished talking.
Right.
Or like taking a pause, or maybe puffing on a cigarette or something, and you walking and you think that everything is about you. That's self-centeredness, right? And I always say that I get mad, and I still do, because I still got a whole lot of issues, right? I still get mad when people are talking about me, and I get mad when they not. You know, because I think I'm all that important. You know, so, you know, we suffer from all of that stuff. And when we go to aftercare and all that stuff, a lot of these things, you're on a pink cloud around that time. You know, you're feeling good. You know, you're relieved of all of that stuff that was going on. You're starting to talk back to your kids on the phone. You know, your girl that's been supporting you all that time, and whatever the case may be, while you was running, she's like right there with you, and you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And even looking at a woman or a man and being like, they look good, just all of that. You're on this pink cloud. And so you start to get better and you start learning a little bit about what you like a little. Mm. And then check this out, I know if you dealt with this, like you even start liking who you are to a point that when you do something that you used to do that was messed up, you feel like, damn, I did that.
Yes.
Yes. And so, that's when you know you get, that's when you know that like, it's, time to get better. You're getting better when you start noticing some things, and let me just say, when I was active, right, when I used to get, not when I was drinking, because I was off the chain when I was drinking. I was crazy. But when I used to use other substances, I would like be so, people could like talk to me kind of way they wanted to, or take advantage of me, or in a way where they would steal or run off with the money, all kind of stuff, right? People would do all kinds of stuff to me because I didn't say anything, because I just wanted to be left, like I wanted to just be okay at that moment, and so when I got clean, I had to really show people that I wasn't that quiet person. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so like it was a drastic change from how I am when I'm using, versus how I am when I'm clean. And I had to understand that I was being aggressive like that because I was suffering from all the pain and hurt that I went through when I was using from people who was taking advantage of me.
Right. So it's like the little kid was like, yeah, now it's my time to come out and play.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And so when I found myself doing that, sometimes I would be like, why am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't right. And I would be like, dude, should I go and apologize to the person? And she'd be like, well, they might not even know what you're talking about. But,
right.
If you think so, go right ahead. Mm-hmm. If you hear that, sometimes people be like, oh, I didn't even notice none, But if that makes you feel better, go ahead,
Nice.
So it's a big change from when you using and your responses from how you were when you was using versus how you are when you get clean.
Right. Now, and then thank you for touching base on that, because that leads me to my next question is, how important is it to promptly admit when you're wrong and apologize?
Well, it depends on when you realize you're wrong.
True.
Because some people can hold on to that stuff and be like, no, I was not wrong. And I do that. Self-righteousness starts coming into play.
Yep.
And now, you
and
trying to stand your ground.
I can identify with the self-righteousness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so promptly admitting it, some people just ain't promptly admitting nothing, but it's nice when you can promptly admit it, when you get to a place in your recovery, when you're wrong or when you're, come on,
right,
like let's stop,
right, let's like let's not go, right.
You might have been right in the situation, but how did you come with it? How did you bring it?
Did you respond or did you react? Right? Yeah. So thank you. Now you talked about the program. Now if anyone doesn't know, Malika P and I, she's my case manager she started a group, or she heads a group for you.
No, my group is from
Reincorporated, the one that I'm involved with.
Yeah, the Umass Chan. I do research as well.
Yes. So can you tell them a little about what Chan is, because they have this book, this curriculum, and when I took a look at it, like a relapse prevention plan or things like, it was so in depth, right? Like I felt like someone who has some real experience with addiction came up with this shit, because like, there's a difference between having, doctors who can't help us, right? They can't take this pill and maybe that'll help, or, but it's different when you write up a curriculum to help a recovering addict, because you've been in that recovering addict shoes before, right? So can you tell us a little bit about the Chan program?
Sure. Well, to kind of set that record straight, they were doctors that wrote that curriculum.
No recovering addict help with that?
None at all, no.
No one said, "Hey,
and I'll
maybe take
tell
this
you
in."
about that.
Yeah,
Right?
please do. But
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So the my bosses are psychology doctors, right?
Okay.
And they have a big interest, of course, in mental health.
Right.
But they understood that there was a lot of issues around the substance abuse, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. And so what happened was they kind of understood that when a person suffering from mental health and substance abuse, that you would have to go into treatment for what was worse. So they wanted to come up with something that focused on both.
Okay.
And the way that they could find out about it is only through people who have been through it before.
Right.
Yeah. So the curriculum that they put together has everything to do with statistics as well as common information, but mainly from people in recovery, right? Or people who've experienced. But I love the curriculum because it's good. It's really deep.
Yes.
You know, and what we do is, of course, anything at UMass Chan Medical School is research or school for people who are being nurses or doctors, things like that. So my part that I do is research, and we have this curriculum and this research study,
Yes.
where we're trying to bring together a program that focuses on both the mental health and the substance abuse, where not one or the other, but both. Right. And so we get people that have the history of those things, and we sign them up, and we give them a case manager and a peer person.
Yep.
And we do dual recovery treatment, which is the curriculum. We either do groups or individual sessions where we do that work.
Yep.
With you to kind of give it. The curriculum is a lot of coping skills and things to do if you feel like you want to use.
And they're very good. Like they're very good coping skills, by the way. Like, some of the stuff that I write inside the workbook is like, it's stuff that we can actually apply in real life.
Yeah, definitely. Right? That's what it's for. Exactly.
And shout out to the Chan group, shout out to UMass, especially Malika P. I was blessed. God has seen fit for me this time to be able to be around some people, right, who just want to see me win and want nothing more than that, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool, because especially coming from a lifestyle where the only time people cared if I won is if I had something to give them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to thank you for that. How did you come to be involved with the RIA program? And if you could just let them know what the RIA program is real quick.
Yes. So RIA stands for Ready, Inspire, Act, Incorporated. And we are a organization that treats, or let me see, what's the word I could use? We mentor. I'm a mentor and an advocate, but what our goal is we work in commercial sex prevention.
Right.
Women who have been exploited, sexually exploited, trafficked, women who have been coerced.
Yep.
And a lot of people, when they hear about that organization, they automatically think traffic means being taken across the country and stuff like that.
Right.
And traffic means, somebody can put you in a car and drive to another
blocks.
city.
Right.
Yeah, 2 blocks. Yeah, they done trafficked you over here, over there. So we have trafficking in our backyard, and people really don't know it. It's not just across country, and it's not just children. It's adult women as well, and men as well, and young boys, and so we sometimes don't understand what it means when we hear that stuff, because it sounds bad, but we can identify it. If I was to tell you, did you have a boyfriend that said, you go out here and do this for me, and if you love me, you'll do it?
Right.
That's coercion. Or if you want to stay here, this is what you got to do. And so then we can start identifying a little bit more. Even with drug addiction, we're being pimped out by the drug. We're like in a position where we have absolutely no choice.
Right.
And so we have these things going on, and we have pimps, and we have people that are having us do all these things, and we're doing them. Now this is where the part gets deep. Like if they get arrested,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Then they're not going to be able to get an apartment. They're not going to be able to get any kind of services because they got an open case. But guess what? The John, he goes home with his family, and usually it's men with money who come down to where they can get the service by exactly. Yep. And then the pimp or the exploiter, he's like, oh, okay, she got arrested. I didn't.
Right. Right.
And so the women who are dealing with all of this stuff is the one that's suffering the most.
Yeah, the brunt of the whole situation falls directly upon your shoulders.
Yeah, even with being put in that situation to do that, and then the man that you have to do it with, like just totally degrading ourselves and just and it's something and it's deep, and a lot of people experience it. Even married women experience it when they got a husband that they really don't want to be with, but they with them because they got to make sure that they have, they don't have to work. They could, if they get the paycheck, all of that stuff. So it goes
really deep. It sounds like, yeah. So what kind of things do you guys do to help women deal with the trauma? That's it, because I know a lot of trauma is inflicted in that lifestyle.
So what it is that we have a mentorship program, right? Okay. In the mentorship program, we first of all, you don't have to have no money or no insurance or nothing. This is everything. It's just bring yourself and like, you don't have to have any insurance, none of that stuff. So we assign mentorship if they choose to do that, and they'll get a mentor, and their mentor, of course, is a survivor. We're on the front lines. We're out there in the community, being of example, helping the mentee with situations that's happening, resources. We're advocates, so we go to court and we fight and do all we need to do. We stand up, we fight bills that we're trying to get exploiters and the Johns to be held accountable, things like that. Now we also do therapy. We have clinical therapists that consistently will meet with you to help you through all your trauma, things that you're going through, blase.
And of course, this is no money at all.
No money at all.
All right.
And then I do a trauma group. We have 3 groups a week. Each mentor has a group. My group is a trauma group that I hold on Monday nights.
Yes.
And we do a lot of different things. We don't never have the same thing that we do every week. We do we pick out of baskets and talk about stuff that we come out with. Right. We do the telephone. Sometimes we do what somebody said something and what they say at the end, or we'll even do dance moves.
That's it.
When we start the group, we do like this thing where we put on music and each person gets up, goes out the door. They come in and do their little Marvin routine, dance routine, because they have arrived, right? And so they be like, my name is so-and-so, and I have arrived. And then everybody cheers them on. And then all the new people love it. And they get it. Oh, it's crazy. We have
so that's what's up. So it sounds like you're helping these women build back up their confidence and self-esteem as well.
Yes. And that's very important.
I was just going to say, that seems like it's very vital, right? Yeah. Because, you run by these women and me, even as a man that was out there, not being a John, right? But like, I never really cared to think about what they were going through, what those women were going through, right? Mm-hmm. All that I ever seen was, they would hop in the car, they would come back, they would have money for drugs, and you know, and the one thing that I did used to get angry about, I did get angry about back then, is when women did that, and then when they came back, everyone was, hey, can I get some? Can I get my thing was always, bro, I don't even want to ask what she had to do to get whatever she got, right? Yeah. But like, it was so easy to take for granted how much pain and shit they were going through, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for the stuff that you do for these women, right? Because
speaking on that though, let me just say this. Right?
Absolutely.
I was left for dead. Okay. I was left for dead. The man thought I was dead. Thank God that I played dead, but I thought I was going to die. I remember that clear as day. And I had guns put to my face. I had guns put to my head. I've been chased with guns. I've been beaten, I've been taken advantage of in many different ways. I have experienced a lot of things, and let me tell you, these women, we watch it on TV all the time. They have women, somebody done took them somewhere, and you know never come back.
Yep.
So reading between the lines, like suffering, being drugged up and just taken advantage by so many men. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Very much so.
Mhm.
So then you must have like a really like a soft spot for what's been going on with Diddy then, correct?
Yeah.
And I don't mean for him, but
Yeah,
I
know what
mean
you
the
mean.
situation.
I really, to bring that up, to be honest with you, there are a lot of people that are acting out in that behavior. I'm talking about the men part,
Yep. Mhm.
and it's sickening what they do, right, to get their needs met, or to take advantage of someone, or belittle, hurt, put their hands on, and all that stuff, or even just treating women like they're not worth nothing,
Right.
and so I have seen this happen many times over, and I have had friendships with people who have had those things accused of them as, right, and so it bothers me because it's a catch-22 for me. Like, what can I do in regards to letting people know that I'm fighting for the woman. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the friendship that I have with the person, I don't know how to respond to that, but I have to distance myself, and I have to say that no, we can't do that. It's not okay to do that.
Right.
And so I'm kind of like going through that in a way right now, but it's something else when you have to get caught in the middle of that.
Yeah.
We learn around the Narcotics Anonymous that we come from all types of people. We come from
Absolutely.
all types of walks of life. And a part of me said, well, if I go and use, or somebody go and use, should I turn my back? Or if they did this, should I turn my back? Because we all come in like that, and we have to learn how to change that behavior. But if you haven't changed that behavior, you got to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Because these vulnerable women are, they're suffering.
Absolutely.
That is wrong.
Absolutely. So me, myself, when I saw the footage, immediately it made me feel good about myself and where I'm at today. Right. Obviously, I still have a problem with my mouth. I do. But I'm not, I no longer speak with these.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, at least not to a person physically.
Yeah.
Right? And when I saw that, a part of me got angry, but a part of me got happy.
Is that the thing from in the hallway, the hotel and all that?
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to jump in that TV and kick his head.
You feel me? But immediately, right? First, I said, damn, that's what I look like? That's what I look like? And then it started to become apparent, like, that's why nobody wanted to chill with me, right? And I also said it on the A Quarter in a Dream podcast with everybody coming out now talking about what they've seen in the past. They're just as guilty, right? Because being someone who was an abuser and is still working on himself every day, right? I know personally that I would have never stopped that behavior had I not had people that act, did you really do some shit like that? Right? Or yo, bro, what the fuck is going on with you? Or when I call my friends, like, yo, y'all coming over to the crib tonight? Not if she's there, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not because not if she's there because she's the problem. It's because you're my friend. I don't want to tell you you're a shitbag.
Yeah.
Right. So I was forced to confront these issues, even with my wife. Right. I was forced to confront these issues. Right. Especially after having a daughter. So when I hear them talking about, he was doing this with Kim, he was doing that with Cassie, and I'm like, well, you guys are just as bad, right? Because from an abuser standpoint, right? If I raise my hand to you in a room full of people and no one says anything to me, the narcissist in me isn't going to say that they're afraid to say something. The narcissist in me says, oh, they agree with what I just did. See, you are bad. You are bad. They agree with all of that shit. So that's a fucked up situation, right? Because so my heart definitely goes out to her, and I hope she finds healing. I honestly wish that she can find a group like yours, like Rhea, right?
That's real important to be able to do that. That type of thing just destroys us, as women, because it takes away, because it's a lot of psychological pain that goes with it, that we're not good enough, we're not worth nothing, we don't deserve. And trust me, men tell us that while they putting their hand on us too. You ain't never gonna be nothing, nobody's gonna want you but me. I'm not, and all that mind effing. And we believe it because we're so damaged, so I felt that watching that was it really hit my spirit, because shouldn't a woman be in no situation like that? And why did the world come to be, where men think that it's okay to do that?
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
For control. That's what it is.
Hey, talk about it. Yeah. And again, like I said, actually, you know what? Now that you say control, maybe that is it, right? Because like for a lot of my life, like growing up, like I felt like I didn't have any control over life. Like everything was always decided for me, right? And this one said that, and I had to do it the way this one said to do it, and if not, then I got whooped, and you know what I mean? So, yeah,
that's your trauma,
and
that's why it comes out. You got to compensate for all that you lost. Not being able to stand up for yourself and always being controlled by somebody. Now it's time for you to control somebody and something, and so that's how we act out our trauma.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I would have never known about the little boy inside, for real. And again, right, like my favorite line used to be like, "Bitch, I'm a grown ass man," and then I would immediately do some little boy shit, right? Yeah. But think that was the man inside of me. And today I know now, like like I had a situation today where the little boy came out verbally, right? And it's okay, because now I know that when that little boy comes out, walk away. So that's what I did. I left, and I got to a meeting, right? And then, I recentered myself, and I always heard that if you're having a bad day, it's never too late to reset your day.
Yeah.
So that's what I did today, right? But if I had no idea that little boy was showing his head, things could have got really out of hand, right?
Yeah. And let me just throw this in there with that. Like, this is the way I look at things, right? I know that if I don't walk away from a fight, whatever it may be, that I may hurt somebody.
Right.
I get a case. I might get hurt.
Absolutely.
And I might be going to jail. And when any of those four things happen to me, trust me, the work that I do is out the window. And then when I lose my jobs, who's going to pay my bills? Who's going to pay my car note? Who's going to pay, my insurance? Who's going to pay those bills? And if those bills don't get paid, what you think going to happen? So I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to say, is that worth me losing everything?
Right. Right.
And I have to walk away. And I've been doing that real good lately. I've been like, okay. I have to.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first met you, you was the one that would like snatch a chick up in a meeting.
I always got something. Yeah.
But again, this is a program, and it's a process of change, lifetime change.
Yeah.
So I like to commend you on yours.
Thank you, and I want to commend you on yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm glad we got to do this. How about this, right? They say, right, that you follow this program the way it's laid out, and it grants you a 1-day reprieve from a drink or a drug. But you just came back from a cruise, living life, right? So can you just tell us how that bonus to the program, how that was for you?
Well, let me tell you, when I used to be in the crack houses, right, I remember being in them places with no water running, no lights, right, and being in those environments and adapting to it. right, just to because that's where I was using. And like I had been in a lot of situations. I talked about being a survivor of sex exploitation. So I've done a lot of stuff that I am not proud of in my life, right? And for me to do the things that I do in my life now, right? Like going to Casamil, Mexico, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Bahamas, all those places at, Atlanta, different places, and just, living it up. I think about, what if them people see me now?
Word up.
Those people that took advantage of me and did, the unthinkable, and I've done unthinkable too. But those people, if they was to see me now, I think about that sometimes. Thank God that I made a decision to get clean, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing none of what I'm doing.
Right.
I have to be a leader of my community. I have to be accountable for what I do today, tomorrow, and the next day. You know what I'm saying? I have to lead by example. I can't continue to live the way I used to live, even in the mind frame, maybe not using, but the behaviors and all that. I can't keep doing that, because if I do, I'm never going to have the blessings, because that's what they are, the blessings and the miracles that God has bestowed upon me. It's not going to happen.
Okay. That's it. All right. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of RadioActive Recovery. Malika P just dropped a bomb on recovery, and we hope you caught the fallout. All right. So, again, thank you for coming through. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.